Hi, this is Senator Tom Garrett, and this is my fourth legislative update of the 2013 General Assembly session. Thank you for joining us. Now, normally, good counsel is that you don't talk about your bills that died, you talk about your bills that have succeeded. But today, to make a point, for the second week in a row actually, I'm going to talk about a bill that died. And the reason I'm going to talk about, well, actually I'm going to talk about three. The reason I'm going to talk about them is because these bills died, and that's symptomatic of the climate in Richmond. I tell you that I'm pretty confident that if I were to carry a bill that cured the common cold, I couldn't get a single Democrat vote in support of it in the current political climate. And it's tragic when partisan, petty political bickering stops bills that are in the best interest of good governance and good policy in Virginia. The first bill I want to talk to you about is Senate Bill 825. What Senate Bill 825 would have done is ensured that where someone had applied for court-appointed counsel and signed a document saying that they were indigent, that we actually checked to look to see if their claim of indigency was actually accurate. And this rises out of a case that I prosecuted myself, an individual who repeatedly came before the courts. And lo and behold, after years of court-appointed counsel at taxpayer expense, we learned that he had a whole lot more money than he claimed to have. So, common sense and good government, guess how many Democrat votes it got? 0. The next bill I want to talk about is the Hyde Amendment. The federal Hyde Amendment says that taxpayer dollars will not be used to perform abortions. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form restrict anyone's right to choose to terminate a pregnancy. But what it does do is says that right shall not be subsidized at taxpayer expense. But the Democrats railed about access. You're denying access. Well, I want to know at what point access came to mean somebody else is paying for it. So, why is it named after the Hyde Amendment? Well, in 1976, so closing on 40 years ago, this became federal law. It's still federal law, but comporting that with law in Virginia, well, federally, plenty of Democrats support the Hyde Amendment. In Virginia, 0. The third bill, spousal testimony. Now, in Virginia right now, we're out of line with most states insofar as the spousal privilege can be asserted by one spouse against another, even where that spouse wants to communicate in the circumstance where there was a criminal conspiracy between the two spouses. So what this means is that if a husband and wife conspire to murder someone, and they do indeed murder someone, but one of them wishes to testify, the other one can assert against them that they can't testify. That's the law. Not in like 42 other states, not in federal court, but in Virginia. Senator Mark Obenshain was wise enough to point out a case that occurred with a couple who was married in Virginia and who went across state lines and murdered someone in West Virginia, and only because the spouse who chose to testify in the case was allowed to do so, was that murder, did that murder ever result in a conviction? This is common sense stuff. We're taking murderers off the street. It's the law in the vast bulk of states of the nation and federally. But in Virginia, in 2013, how many Democrat votes? 0. And so I sit here today trying the best that I can to work towards a climate, a regulatory climate that's not so burdensome that we can't create jobs, a legal climate that allows the wheels of criminal justice to take their course, a climate of freedom and liberty and individual rights, the right to pursue the happiness that the founders spoke of. And you know how many Democrat votes we get when we do these things? 0. It's time to tell your senators to get to work to do what's right for Virginia. In a few weeks, we'll take up a plan on transportation, an overarching problem that impacts the entire Commonwealth. And I know that one party came to the table ready to do work to get this done in Senate Finance. How many Democrat votes? I don't think you got any. Tell your senators it's time to set aside petty partisan political differences and do what's right for the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm Tom Garrett, and I look forward to seeing you next week on number 5 Legislative Update. Have a great weekend.